Today, guys, I'm on Savile Row. I'm here at Richard James, and I'm chatting in a very special two-watch collection to two gents that are both collectors and watch founders. Come join me. Guys, welcome back to another two-watch collection, and I'm delighted to have two of my dear friends. In fact, I think I'm correct in saying this is the very first two-watch collection where I've got two different guests. So Olaf and Jas, founders of Aera, thank you so much for joining us today.
Good to see you again. Thank you for having us.
Now, boys, this is the plan. I thought it would be interesting. Now, I know the brand, and there might well be others out there that know Aera already, but I thought it would be interesting to get to know you guys, your love of watches, and some stories around some of your personal watches, to then allow people to sort of shape an idea of how you've come to the watches you've designed. So, boys, give us an overview. Olaf, tell us how you got into watches to start with.
My father was running jewelry stores when I was a little kid. So I started working there when I was 5 years old, changing batteries, running errands. And so I really grew up with watches, different watch stores. Then I started to work in different watch stores. So in the end, I probably worked at 35 different watch stores, from Australia to Switzerland and all around Sweden.
Wow. And yes, tell us about your story, boy. How did you get into watches?
So it really starts with my father, and actually my grandfather. My grandfather was a watch and clock repairer in India. My father came over in the late 50s to the UK, and he was repairing clocks and watches. He started off in the RAF and repairing speedometers and aviation clocks, and then he was at Triumph, and then at H. Samuels. So as I was a young lad, you know, I have three older sisters, and they would, after dinner, they would go off and play together, and I'd sit there and my dad would get his clocks and watches out and repair them on the kitchen table. So I would, you know, he was my hero, my best friend. There were no other boys for me to hang out with. So I would sit, and I was just fascinated by, he would take them apart, you know, piece by piece, the movements, and then clean them, and then put them back together. And for me, I was just, this guy's a magician. Like, how would you do that? and after getting my first watch from my father when I was about 8, he told me that, I said to him, Dad, you know, one day I'm going to have my own watch company. And that's really where it started.
Unbelievable. He sounds like the ultimate tinkerer, one of those guys that would have a go at fixing and repairing anything, no matter what it was.
Only watches and clocks.
Oh, really?
Came to bike or any bikes or
okay.
washing machines. No, he was like, let's call in the experts. So it was only his passion and love for watches and clocks.
Interesting. Sounds like my dad, who said, never show that you can do anything to your mum, because the minute you can show you can do something, you'll be called in all the time. Still doing that today. Right, gents, let's get into your two watches. So Olaf, let's start with you. What two watches did you bring?
I brought a couple of watches, and it's not because of your show, but since I was 14 years old, I've been wearing two watches always.
Really?
Every day.
Double wristing?
Always.
Wow.
It became a sort of a marketing tool when I was a kid, because people were like asking, what is hot, what is cool, and you know, if you only show one watch, and I didn't like white strap, okay, then you have another watch to show. And it was also a thing when people sort of noticed, and they come, yeah, well, are you stupid? Why do you have two watches? Yeah, do you like watches? And then I had the opportunity to sell a watch.
Amazing.
So I've always been wearing two watches, but today I'm wearing an iPod watch that is made by Mark Newson, and this one is a special limited edition, and we only made 6 pieces of this one.
Wow. And when did you get this, and what did you love about the design?
Well, the design is absolutely amazing. It's all rounded. There's no sharp edges, and it really fits so smooth on the wrist.
And how long ago did you get it?
Well, this has to be like 22 years ago or something.
Really? And it's a titanium case or a steel case?
It's a steel case.
Steel case, wow.
Yeah.
You can see you've loved it. I mean, I love the fact that it's got some
really
signs of
warm.
wear on it, which is super cool.
And it has my favorite color, which is blue.
And it's just a stunning dial. But it is, for those that know the iPod designs, this is quintessential.
Yeah.
And obviously they do chronographs and other things, but the fact this is time only, and it has this sort of almost industrial style, architectural style dial.
The
by the blue, it's almost a sandwich
amazing.
style, right? It's got a layer on top,
Yeah.
which allows you to see to the blue.
It gives a little bit of like a three-dimensional look of the whole dial.
It's really lovely. Does it have any lume on it, or just on the hands?
Yeah,
Just a little bit on the hands. Very cool. And obviously a view into the into the movement there,
Yeah,
which is a trademark of theirs. Amazing. Well, we'll come to the links between their designs and yours, because I know they have inspired, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to do the conversation. Was clearly you've got a love of this simplicity and this sort of purity of design. Amazing. And what have you bought next there? What's your next one?
The next one is an old Tudor watch. It's from the mid-90s. I really love the design. It has a nickname, Big Block, and it's a little bit thicker than like a Rolex Daytona. It has the date, which the Daytonas never had. And well, for me, it's very special. It also has a very special blue dial.
You can tell you got a thing for blue now. Oh, and congratulations! This is a new blue jacket. I gather you got on here today.
Thank you.
All blue, but this is a particularly vibrant blue. It reminds me a little bit almost of the Vacheron Constantin Overseas blue, that really punchy third generation.
Yeah, you're
blue.
right.
Really lovely. Where did this all start? Where did the love affair with Tudor and the Big Block start?
Oh, I've been in love with Tudor my whole life. It's one of my favorite brands of all. Also, this one, they made a test, and Tudor had the idea of maybe doing sapphire glass on the backside. So they made this one as a test in very small numbers.
I've never seen this one before.
And they did it. They didn't like it, so they didn't
Decided
do
not
it.
to run it.
Yeah.
Oh wow, there you go. So you've got that punchy red against that blue backdrop. And so do we know how many were produced at all? I mean, it's difficult to know with Tudor and Rolex. They don't talk about volumes, but...
As I was told about this one, they only made 7 pieces.
Oh wow.
They only made it as a test.
Wow. It's one of those that's cool because from across the table, people might think that it's, and fairly, it's a Daytona. I mean, look at the bezel, the Marks bezel, the tachymeter bezel, but it's not.
The whole bracelet is made by Rolex by that time. Even has the Rolex crown
on it, yeah.
So,
really cool.
Absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant. You don't have anything more to show us, do you? Are you going to show us something with the glove?
I have something more.
Oh, no, hold on. We just agreed it was only 2. No. Well, if you've obviously watched a few of the episodes before, you know that people don't just come with 2.
I have
And I've got the sense it's a bit special.
I have something very unique. This watch has been going through from the owner. It was bought by the mayor of London. He sold it to the king of Monaco, who gave it to his son, who gave it to Prince Albert. Prince Albert sold it to me. Owner from the beginning is Napoleon. So This is actually Napoleon's watch that he had. He was wearing it in his pocket for 4 years. Then he gave it away to his best friend. So it has his coat d'arms, and it also has the engravement where he says, from the emperor to his friend Baron.
Wow, sorry, I didn't expect to see that today. That is unbelievable. So Napoleon's watch, does it have any paperwork with it that shows where he bought
everything,
it?
Everything.
Wow.
Everything. It's fantastic.
That's incredible. And so this is the case backside, so engraved, it's a hand engraved case, and the case itself has this beautiful finishing to it. The dial side, is it an enamel dial, I'd assume?
I think so.
Yeah, very clean, very simple. Not running, or it does run?
It is not running.
Not running.
And it is a little bit damaged on the dial, but the provenance is amazing.
Oh my gosh. And the thing about pockets, I mean, I love pocket watches to start with, but these were truly handmade things.
Yeah.
You know, truly
Every
handmade
single
things.
piece.
Incredible. Yeah. And they're slowly making a comeback, I think. I mean, look at that. So made in Geneva. Do we know who the maker is? Because often it's not written on the dial.
No.
We don't know who the maker is.
Unfortunately not. No.
Wow, that is unbelievable. That really is. And there's something about great design, there's something about great technology and complication, but provenance is something else, isn't it? You know, to hold that. Do you ever have a moment at home and just hold it and think to yourself, wow,
absolutely.
He was holding it. I'm going to give that back to you before I do any more damage to it, but unbelievable.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing it. Yes, listen, tell us what you got. Have you bought 2 with you?
So I did bring, well,
you know the remake.
I don't wear two as Olaf does, but I wear 1, but we'll get to that later. But these 2 watches are really special, and they have a very private provenance to them. This was my second watch that was gifted to me by my father when I was probably I was about 12 or 13 years old, and it's one of the original Tissot RockWatches.
Yeah.
And for me at the time, this was my first real watch. I'd got a Xeon digital James Bond watch as my first watch, which I absolutely loved. But this was the second piece, and this for me was, I remember clearly when he gave it to me, and that it was, when I found out it was made out of rock, I just thought, what? Like this watch is made out of like a mountain. And it was, being kind of that young, it was just something that I couldn't even fathom, what that really was. But, I came to really appreciate, I loved the design and really that whole curvature. The dial and the case were actually made out of one piece. And so, we'll get onto it a bit later, but really our love, or my love for Icopod came originally from this case shape. And you'll also see influences from this that actually we brought into Aera when we actually created our own watch company. But for me, it was the colorful hands, every piece of rock, no piece could actually be the same. So for me, it was just something and I've treasured it ever since.
How old were you when your dad gave it to you?
I believe I was around about 13, 12 or 13.
Must have been the coolest kid at school.
He didn't let me take it to school.
Did you not?
No. This was only kind of if we were out. I could wear it at home.
A fancy moment
in the garden, and
Sunday
we
lunch.
went out for dinner. So that for me has always had. It's got the special. I would say, the feeling it gives me because it was given to me by my father. As I said, he was my hero, my best friend. But also how much influence this has had also in my career and the watches that I've been involved in. I can really trace back a lot of roots to this watch.
I mean, there's so much to love about it. I love the scoop dial, as you say. It's one piece of rock, the whole case. But the integration of the lugs, it reminds me a little bit of the Da Vinci, the RWC Da Vinci from the 80s. That's the only watch that I can think of that has that type of articulation going on. It's all there. Amazing. Yes, thank you so much for bringing that. That's really cool. Yes, what's your second pick?
So this, again, has a very personal provenance, and there's an interesting, quite amusing story to this. And so this is the Patek Philippe 5711 1A, which is notoriously famous. But this actually, I mean, it's a beautiful piece, and I fell in love with the design. I would say in my 20s, and it was a piece that I did own for all of about a minute, and then didn't own again until this was purchased. So going back to the early 2000s, my father knew that I loved this, and he was in the watch industry and had some friends, and he said, "Oh, I've actually got, I managed to get a Nautilus, and it's for you." And he brought it home and he showed me. And he said it was a window display, and it has some marks on it.
Sorry, can we say that again? That was a window.
It was a window display model.
This was in a world when a Nautilus 5711 stood in the window.
Exactly.
But this was
exactly. I mean, I think in those days it was probably the 3800. I believe in those. So he brings it home, and I have a look at it, and it's got this mark literally on the side. And I said to him, Dad, but look at this mark, and it was a deep mark, and but not so much that it couldn't be polished out. My father said to me, "Look, son, don't worry, I'll get it taken out. But look, we've got it at a really good price." And I said to him, "Do you know what, Dad? Thanks, but I don't want it. When I want to buy one, and I really appreciate it, I will, I'll buy one that's like new and not marked." And my father said to me, "Son, like, we'll get it taken out." I said, "No, Dad, thanks, but no thanks." like an idiot that I was. Anyhow, so I came back. I loved and I admired the model, and I always thought in my head that I would, one day own this piece. Until probably about 10 years ago, and I was sitting there drinking tea. So my father and I would have this ritual where I'd make Punjabi cardamom tea. We'd sit down, and we were talking about watches as we did quite often. And he said to me, he goes, "You know what, son? We so should have kept that Nautilus." He goes, I really wanted to wear that watch. And I was flabbergasted because I had no idea that he also wanted that watch. So for me, I thought he'd bought it for me. And I said, "Dad, why didn't you tell me that you wanted this?" He goes, "No, I mean, you didn't want it." So I thought, no problem. I then went on a mission to find this watch for my dad. And so I called up some friends in the retail space, and I said, "Look, that I'd bought watches from, and I managed to get on a list." Anyhow, it came to, we were in COVID, and I get a phone call, and it's from one of the retailers, and they said, "Did you still want the Nautilus with the blue dial?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And he said, "Yeah, it's coming in like 2 weeks, so it's yours." So I went in, bought the watch, and then 2 weeks later, it gets discontinued. So suddenly this watch was like, wow, I just managed to get it just in time. So I went to my father, and because of COVID, we were sheltering him in the house. And so I, through the window, I remember giving him the watch, brand new.
Unbelievable.
Gave it to him. I said, Dad. And he said, oh, did we have this in the collection? I said, no, Dad. I said, I got this for you. And so I put it on his wrist, and literally, so he wore it for the first, I think it was about a month. And I saw him, I did see him in between, but he was wearing it when I came. I was living in London at the time, and we were driving up to see my parents. And he was wearing it. I said, Dad, so how are you enjoying it? He goes, I love this watch. He said, but you know, there are all these scratches and marks on it. And I said, oh, really? I said, oh. And I just said, oh, Dad, yeah, it might have happened while you were, just in the house. And he said, oh, no, it wasn't me. He goes, you gave it to me. I think you gave it to me like that. And I just chuckled inside. I didn't have the heart. I didn't have the heart to tell him. But that's why this piece is so special to me. I mean, of course, it was made by the master, Joel Genter, as we all know. And but it was really like a love affair. And as I said to you, I wish I'd kept it. When my father gave it to me as a gift, because as you can imagine, all those years later buying it, it was
slightly different proposition.
Exactly, for sure. But there you have it. But
he got some use out of it. And then, of course, when he passed away, you took it back. Is that right?
And I've had it in my collection since. So it brings a lot of beautiful memories. So for me, it will always sit in my collection. Although currently, I'm not wearing it. Because I'm representing another watch brand now.
Well, that's a perfect segue.
I have to. I can't, even though it's such a beautiful, memorable piece.
But it's nice to as you did with the RockWatch growing up. It's nice to wear something fresh for the first time on a special occasion every so often.
Yeah.
You sort of fall in love with a watch every time you pull it out the safe, and you have that moment to look at it and appreciate how nice it is, and see those new angles, and it's a joy. So tell us about what you got on the wrist there as well, yes, because this is a fresh brand. It's a brand that I came to a few months ago, maybe a year or so ago, when I first saw, I think it was Monocle actually, that I first saw a write-up on the brand, and then we met. So tell us a little bit about Aera.
So this is something that was created by myself and Olaf. We've been friends for 25 plus years, and we met at a watch party, funnily enough. And literally within the first night, we talked about design, we talked about the things that we loved, and literally we said to each other, one day we should create a watch company together. And so, years went by, we talked, we went back and forth, and we said, well, what kind of watch would we create? And we, 20 years went by, and I had finished up a project, and we were in Stockholm together, and I said to Olaf, I've got really, nothing to do right now, in a sense that I wasn't working on any projects. And so I said to him, are we just going to talk rubbish all our lives? Or are we actually really going to do this watch brand? So Olaf was at the bar buying us some drinks, and literally he gets the two drinks, puts one in my hand, and turns around and says, hell yeah. And that is literally how this brand started.
Tell us about the design, because we can see it on the wrist here, gents, and it is a distinct design. It's got an industrial feel to it. It's clearly a designed product, if that makes sense.
For sure. And being a watch lover and enthusiast and being collectors, we knew watches, but we actually didn't really look at watches when we were designing these. We said to ourselves, we know the quintessential watches from, we are, as I said, we're collectors. So, and Olaf has been in the watch industry from, when he was basically walking. So, we said to ourselves, well, the case shape for us to have something that was quite unique, and that actually it would be something that would be instantly recognizable. And really the whole ergonomics of the case shape was something so important to us. So we spent 3 years developing and fine-tuning that so that it actually really would fit the wrist.
It actually is literally a fusion of the ergonomics, the comfort that was found here and in that IQ-Pod, except the IQ-Pod doesn't have any lugs. It's a direct integration, but you guys do have very curved lugs that, like the articulation here, sit and hug the wrist. So wearability was key.
The curving was very, very important for us. It has to fit on the wrist very smoothly.
Traditionally, your references are in steel?
Correct, yes. So we basically chose 904L. And when I go back to what I said earlier about making these future heirlooms, the idea that these would stand the test of time, it was the reason for this. I mean, it's a lot more expensive to machine, but it comes up when you do actually the kind of the luster of it. Once it's polished, it's beautiful. It looks almost like a titanium. We wanted it to really stand out, but also be long standing. And 904 has these beautiful anti-corrosion properties. So if you found this 50, 100 years, the case should be intact.
The build quality is what struck me, actually. It was the build quality and it was the weight of it, which is reassuring. But no, it's got this sort of real sensibility to it. It's real sort of tool watch sensibility, I'd say. Size-wise,
sure.
a little bit more about legibility as well, because that dial for me is all about.
Totally. I mean, these are tool watches. We chose the quintessential, the 5 models of the diver and the pilot, which we launched first. And just recently we launched the chronograph and the field. Still, the GMT is yet to come, but these are meant to be, they're meant to be felt. They have presence. But at the same time, we realized, they naturally are big diameter watches. Our diver is a 44 mil, pilot is a 43 mil. But what we felt was that because of I would say that we wanted to create a contemporary design that would feel relevant still in years to come. What we did was the influence, and this is really the influence of, I would say, Icopod came in, and both of us have a long-standing relationship with that brand and the love for it. And, as you mentioned earlier, you can see from where the Tissot RockWatch shape to the Mark Newson Icopod to coming to Aera, there are gentle nods to both here, especially with the curved dial that you see on the Icopod. The ergonomics and the fit and the materials, they all really make this proposition what it is. And as I said, we wanted it to be accessible.
They're all limited editions. So am I correct in saying that? They come and go. So there's a period of time in which they're available. Is it done through time or is it done through limitation?
They're actually, we like to really see them as editions rather than limited editions. So the idea was that they come in editions of 300.
Okay.
The idea that once that edition is finished, there will be another edition, but there'll be something different. Is there a improvement in movement quality? Is there actually improvement in, and for us, technology is something that we want to explore. So the idea is that you'll only ever meet 299 other people, ever bump into someone that has exactly the same watch. But also because our watches have some hand finishing. So you can see on this chronograph here that actually all of the bezel numbers and markers are hand filled. So actually, even though you've got one of 300 watches, they're all actually unique because no watch can possibly be the same.
Olaf, one thing I love about this is the raised or the block loomed Aera logo itself. How does the design work? Do you guys have a bust up about the design? Do you have a fist fight designing these things, or how does it work?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we meet regularly and we talk about the design. We talk about all this small detail because that's one of the reasons why it took such a long time, because we really wanted to go back and forward with all the small details. So you see, even in the second hand, you have sort of a circle, and the circle, the A in Aera, and also the second A, and it really fits perfectly around the A.
It's hard to capture this, but this bezel really is stunningly finished. It's very, very subtle, very simple. Just to finish, gents, just tell us where you can get them. So you can get them on the website, of course, but there are selective retailers as well.
Yes.
That is correct. So at our website, we are, as I mentioned, we are a D2C consumer, but we found that we're now been going, it's our 3rd year anniversary in July this year. And we did find that a lot of our future aeronauts would want to actually see the watches. And also, so we've actually now, we're here where we are today at Richard James. We felt that having a mixture of having lifestyle, but also, watch stores. And it's something that we're pursuing as part of our making sure that the watches are available. So Riddell, in the jewelers in Birmingham on New Street, who are old friends of ours, and then we're actually in Krons in central Stockholm, which is one of Olof's watch stores, keeping it in the family. So actually now for us, we've also been approached by other, I would say, watch retailers, and it's important. Some people are happy to just buy online, as we've been doing the last 3 years, but we feel that really these have to be seen and worn and tried on to really understand how much has gone into this. A picture can only do so much justice.
I totally agree. They've got real punch to them in the metal. You've really got to try it on. And the photos are great, by the way, and the website's great. It's got a beautiful simplicity to it, like the watches, but nothing beats wearing them. And I've got to say, summer-wise, it feels like a great summer option, this. Straps, do you guys sell straps? Do you have different colours? Yeah, on the website.
I mean, all the straps are interchangeable. So
Brilliant.
We have a wide range of different colours.
Brilliant. That feels like that's where we are right now.
It really makes a different watch. This one is a white, matching the white
markers
details in the watch.
And the hands. Gents, we could go on for hours. Thank you so much. I'm really, really excited to see what people think out there of the watches. Thank you so much for joining, Olaf.
Thank you very much.
Lovely to see you.
Lovely to
Yes,
see
thank you so
Thank
much.
you, thank you.
Thank you guys as always. Please leave your comments below, not just about my dusty pink number that I've got on, or Olaf's bear that he's got attached to his new jacket. Until next time, go well.